Hey everyone, my name is Scorched Survival, and welcome to Scorched Survival, episode 21. So this episode is going to be a lot different from my past episodes on this series. This episode is going to be mainly focused on my experience in TwitchCon San Diego 2025 this year, and not really much about Minecraft. However, there will be like Minecraft footage in the background. That footage is the original episode 20. That was me going back to the trial chambers and getting some stuff that I kind of wanted to get. So I'm going to be like reusing that footage as background footage, and I'll be like putting in some vlog footage from TwitchCon San Diego in the video. Alright, so let's actually start talking about TwitchCon San Diego. This video is going to be like mainly like a commentary, a voiceover video over Minecraft footage, like I said. So let's hope this works. I kind of want this to be like a hybrid episode. It's my first time doing this, and the time I'm editing this. Well, I really hope it turns out that way. So at the time of recording this video, I came back from San Diego about 4 days. That was actually 4 days ago. I came back 4 days ago from TwitchCon San Diego. And oh my goodness, I have so much to talk about, like my experience over there, and I have so much to like share. So let's get started with sometime before TwitchCon San Diego. So let's talk about the time when they opened up tickets for buying. When they opened up tickets for TwitchCon San Diego, and the Hermits announced that they will be going back to TwitchCon and announcing some stuff for Hermitcraft Season 10, I was already invested. I wanted to go again, and well, this year I chose to do something a little different. Like actually, there's a lot of things different I chose to do for my trip this year for San Diego. So this year I chose to go all 3 days because I had major FOMO last year. Like I saw all the stuff I missed out on, and like I really wanted to experience all of it this year. So I did that, and I overachieved day one. So I'll be sharing that in a minute. See, when Hermitcraft announced about their panel at TwitchCon and Hermitcraft Season 10 ending, like I said, I was already invested, and I chose to start working on so many ideas that I kind of wanted to do. And one of the biggest ideas, or one of the biggest things that was being planned for TwitchCon San Diego was a little project that I and some people from Perilous and Moon's community started working on. So I had two big ideas that I wanted to work on for TwitchCon San Diego. The first one was 6 gifts for 5 of the Hermits. One of them got 2 of them, and these little gifts, I won't show the picture yet. I'll show it once we get to the part where I actually give it to the Hermits. I'll reveal what I've been working on. I've been teasing this with Pearl's community, and well, I think this might be where it's showed first. And the second idea that I worked on, so me and a chunk of Pearl's community all got together and started working on letters. Everyone worked on a letter for them to send to Pearl, and I printed them all out, packed them up in like a little neat package. Not really neat, it was like a very quick minute package. And I brought it to San Diego, but we haven't got to that part of the story yet, so we're gonna quickly go back and start from day one again and try to make more sense. So we all started working on the mail project like a month at least before October. October is when it truly began and started the ball started rolling. And so yeah, we were all planning that in the back, in the behind the scenes in the background, up until TwitchCon San Diego, which was on the 17th to the 19th. Yeah. So the project that we all worked on, it ended on the 15th. That was the deadline, and I had everything ready. I was panicking on the last minute because I was not ready, and well, I actually finished wrapping my little gifts that I worked on very last minute. It was actually the night before, and I was stressing, but I managed to get them done. And next year I plan on being a lot quicker than I was this year. Alright, so let's speed things up to October 17th, when the morning of TwitchCon San Diego. So my mom and I went to the train station to see me go, and well, she actually left me because she had to go to work, and I had to stay until the train arrives. I chose to go a little early this time. Last year actually went a little early as well, but this year I chose to arrive early as well, just in case, the train leaves early. And I said that word too many times. But yeah, I arrived early at the train station, and I waited an hour for the train to arrive. And once the train arrived, I asked the person, "Hey, did this train go to San Diego?" They said yes. I got on, and it was off to the races. I don't know if I mentioned this my last TwitchCon San Diego video. It was actually my first episode of Scorched Survival. I loved the train ride. I thought it was such a beautiful ride. And this ride, I didn't get a good seat this time. I got a window seat, but not one of the good seats. And I was actually hoping to switch over, but then somebody got the seat, and I was like, oh man, okay, well I guess I'll stay here then. I was chatting with some of the other people on Discord about me heading over there, me updating them on what was happening. And well, I was nervous, but I kept saying this. I wasn't nervous because it was TwitchCon San Diego, again, and I'm going it's a lot more ambitious this year for me. I was mainly nervous because I wasn't nervous. It was a very strange feeling, and I don't know, I guess being nervous about something that you should, no, like being nervous about something that you're not nervous about, it's kind of hard to explain, but that's what I was feeling in those moments. I arrived at the train station about like an hour before like opening times TwitchCon San Diego, or I guess I'll just say TwitchCon now because I'm already in San Diego at the time. And I made a line at the convention. I went inside. This year was a little different, I think. Well, yeah, it was different for me. This year they had you like have a wristband on your wrist and had you like scan this little code. I had no idea where the code is on the thing. I still have the wristband somewhere. I don't know where. Oh crap! You know what? I forgot to mention. So at the metal detecting line or whatever, I don't know, with the scanning, the checking, where they check your bags. I did feel a little awkward of them like searching my bags this year because last year I managed to skip the entire process. I managed to just walk through. I don't know how I did it, but I did. They didn't check my bags, and well, we're not going to talk about TwitchCon security. We're just going to talk about my side of the experience this year. So yeah, but yeah, this year they did actually check my bags, and it did feel a little awkward. They looked at the boxes. They were all wrapped. They didn't open them. They actually made me go outside and see the dogs, like the dog sniffer, the canine unit. The dog sniffed my bag. I wasn't nervous. I knew there wasn't anything in there. They got nothing. And so I went in and started making line in the actual convention. Like I said, this year they had wristbands. They didn't let me choose my color this year, which I was a little bummed about, but whatever. I got my wristband, got into line, and then it was like 20, 30 minutes until it was opening time. I'd say I was like very late to the line. Like I would say like I was in the middle of like all the other line, and I didn't mind that because I knew like everything was about to happen, and I knew it was gonna happen first minute. I knew it was gonna take some time for the Hermits to actually visit the convention, and well, yeah, I think that did happen because they had a panel day one, and I'm pretty sure they had no time to explore the convention. So I got a chance to like explore like the first 3 hours of the convention. I saw the Minecraft booth, I saw the Gamers Outreach booth, I saw the Phasmophobia booth. I marked those places like on my mental map of like potential hotspots of like where the Hermits might be. And I did find them at one of the hotspots, which was the Minecraft booth, but we'll talk about later. As I said, I was walking around the convention and I was like mainly exploring the things, and I was already like I was kind of like planning what I'd be doing like the second and third day. I already had like everything all figured out on my schedule, but like once I was actually in the convention, I figured I should also like plan a few little things just in case if I needed to. So yeah, a lot more walking around later. I didn't see any creators yet, but once it was the Hermitcraft panel time, let's see, I arrived like an hour and 30 minutes early. And when I first checked, I asked the person if they were already making line for the Hermitcraft panel. They said yes, it wasn't that big. So I chose to come back later, like 30 minutes later, just a little bit of explain. I didn't want to be standing still for a while. When I came back, it was a lot more packed, but no, it wasn't full, luckily. And well, that's when I actually got in the line. Now, here's something I will say about me. I unfortunately cannot sit down. I don't know, my legs get numb, they get tired, I don't know. It could be my height, I don't know. I didn't know if I'm considered tall. I might be tall, I don't know. But yeah, most of the line I was just standing up, waiting for the panel to start. Once people started going in, I'd say that's when I started getting a little nervous because this was like my very first like Hermitcraft panel. I didn't attend the last year one because I chose to attend one day. This year it was 3 days. I was gonna experience everything. So once I got into the actual like Hermitcraft like panel room, I remember my heart sank when I got in because I saw so many of the good seats were taken and I knew I wasn't gonna get a good seat, but I said whatever. So I got a seat on the left side and I sat down and I got my camera ready to like record the panel because I knew I wanted to record it just because why not? In case it didn't go out, I at least had a recording of it. I also got a pretty good picture of the entire like group of the Hermits, and I'll just post it right here. Here we go. There it is. As I said, I recorded the entire thing. The only part I didn't record was the Q&A part. I'm sorry, I didn't record it just because it didn't really interest me. But I chose to record it. Everything else, just in case like I said, it didn't like get uploaded as a bot or something. So this Hermitcraft panel, it was mainly about Hermitcraft Season 10 ending and talk about all the great memories that happened, and the announcement of the next Hermitcraft world. And well, yeah, they did show the world, and they also announced the date when it will be out. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a great time at the panel. However, I will say there was one negative thing that happened at that panel, and you wouldn't be able to see it in any VOD. Maybe you would hear it. There was someone screaming at every time, like the entire crowd cheered. Like, it was so loud and very, I'd say in my opinion, very rude to be screaming around other people, and my eardrums hurt. I chose not to react to anything. I just chose to continue recording and keep it to myself. And when I left the panel, I I just wanted to get out of there as fast as possible because I didn't want to hear anyone screaming. So last year, according to the Hermits, I think on the Imbiscuits podcast, they said that they made like a unofficial meet and greet right outside the theater room, and I was like walking around the theater area to see if they had actually started making lines or not because I wanted to see if I could meet the Hermits, and I couldn't find any of the Hermits that attended the panel there. But this is where things really start, like, what's the word, like, where the ball starts rolling, I guess? I can't figure out another word. So as I did a bit of walking around, like, let's say, like, 20 minutes later-ish, I saw that there was, like, a crowd of people starting to form. And this was when Green, Jem, and Jimmy started, like, doing a meet and greet. And once I noticed it was them, I was like, oh, shoot, I have to get over there. And I walked over there, I got in line, and, fun fact, I was actually right behind Rusty Courage and Cherryfire. There might have been like one or two more people like ahead of me. I don't know. Maybe they like went ahead of them. Like if they let them go ahead of me, I don't know. Maybe they got lost during the the entire line started moving. But we'll talk about that when that happens. So right before it was about to become Cherry and Rusty's turn, I just asked Rusty if I could get a signature on my signboard. On my like TwitchCon convention sign. That's what it's called. So yeah, I asked Rusty if she could sign my board, and there's a signature right there. I also asked Cherry, but that was a little later. We'll get to that point as well. So Twitch staff arrived at the meet and greet, and they had Green, Jem, and Jimmy move down to the meet and greet area, like officially. So I think there has been like some posts about it on Twitter. I think from Cherry about the line moving too fast, and I'd say they were moving pretty fast. Like I did feel like they were trying to lose us when we were all moving down. I think they were trying to like slim down the line, just so it would move a lot faster. I don't know. But what mattered to me is that I actually got my signature and photo with them. We went down the escalator, we went down, we went to like all the way to the meet and greet area, and I'm so happy I didn't lose them because I really didn't want to let anyone cut in front of me in line. There was someone trying to cut in front of me, but I made sure I held my spot, and we got into the line, and it did take a little while, let's say like 10 minutes for them to get to me, but I just to make my interaction quick. So after it was Rusty and Cherry's turn, there was someone else, and I think they both stayed around just a little bit. I asked Cherry if she could sign my board. Here's her signature right here. And then it became my turn. Now, I was extremely nervous to, actually, no, hang on, turn back. So right before it was my turn, I was talking to one of the staff members about, like, one of the TwitchCon staff. I was, like, making sure everything was, like, held in order, at least at the front. I heard some things at the back, but I was only there at the front. Let's see. I was actually talking to them about who they were. They were asking me, like, who the three were, asking me where they were from, and I answered their questions about like who they were, what they did. I was mainly like giving like a really good word for them in case, they came back next year, which I really hope they do, but if not, I completely understand why, because I've heard so many things about this event, and I'll be honest, I didn't experience any of them. I mainly experienced like my end, and it's what I'm sharing right now. But I'm not going to deny those things happened. I will admit they did happen. I've seen videos, I've seen proof, like it's happened. And I just feel very fortunate to like not have actually experienced any of it. Alright, so now let's get to the part where I actually met the three. So, Brian, actually no, pause. So I asked, no, I didn't ask, hang on. Think, Scorch, think. When it was my turn, I was really nervous to meet them. I was mainly nervous to meet Green and Jimmy because I had no other interaction with them ever in my life until this point. And I'll be honest, I don't really watch, Jimmy, his streams that much, and I do watch Green, but I would say I'm not that connected to his content as much as I used to be before, and so it was a little difficult for me because I didn't really know like how exactly I should behave or react. And this is what I really appreciate, like about the reaction. It's like they were really, really cool about it. And I remember Green asked me if I was ready. I said no, I'm so nervous, and they all laughed it off. And is that the word? I don't know. It was like such a great moment. And so I got my picture with them. Here's the picture right here. I took a couple. No, I didn't take a couple. I got a couple taken. And I didn't really interact with Jem because I already interacted with Jem last year. And this year is mainly Green and Jimmy who I mainly wanted to focus on. So I got Green and Jimmy to sign my board. Or couldn't sign, whatever. And I gave Jimmy his mail. We'll talk about the mail, I think, after day one. He received his mail. He asked who else is going to receive these. And the people who received these were Pearl, Scar, Impulse, and Skiz, and that's it. It's mainly 5, and Pearl got 2 of them, and I'll explain why later. And after I got that, I wanted to say like a few last words to Green before I left because I like I said, I wanted to make like my interaction very quick. And I told him how he brought me back to Minecraft, and it's very special to me. Like why he brought me back to Minecraft is mainly the live series. Let's just say I was mainly focused on another SMP community before Hermitcraft, and I just abandoned ship, and I started watching live series, and live series brought me back to Hermitcraft, and well, I'm here ever since. And that was like the last interaction I had with them for the rest of the convention. I left, and I was like, I was feeling so good about that moment, like with them, because like they were really cool about it. I honestly don't really have that many words. Like it was just like such a cool moment. So after I left the line, I chose to do a lot more walking around the convention. I didn't want to like stick around because well, I didn't have to. I already got what I needed, and so I just do a lot more walking around the convention. And then I bumped into Impulse and Skiz. I didn't physically bump into them. They were just like right in front of me, and I said hi to them. I gave Impulse and Skiz their boxes. That's it. I made that interaction very quick, and then I found Scar, which meeting Scar was actually one of my biggest like priorities this year for TwitchCon San Diego. Last year at the meet and greet, I didn't get a chance to meet him. This year, I made sure I met him. I got a picture with him. My eyes were closed, but I got another picture later. We'll talk about it later. And I gave him his gift box, and asked him to sign my signature sheet, board, and then I left. I actually had 2 interactions with Scar that day, and like I felt so sorry for like going back to him and like asking for like one more little thing. But yeah, I only interacted with him like twice. I didn't want to do it too much because fans, they could get a little carried away, and I made sure I made sure I focused on not carrying away and making sure I just made things very brief and moved on. See, after I was done with meeting Scar, I chose to go back to Impulse and Skiz, and I asked Skiz where Pro was because, like I said, I had this project that we were all working on, and I had to find her so I could give it to her. Skiz didn't know exactly where she was. He said like she was somewhere behind them, so I went back behind them and tried to find her, but I couldn't find her. So I came back. Something in my mind just told me to go back to the Minecraft booth, which is actually where I stopped them. Maybe I'm the reason why they were all there, and I caused them to make a accidental meet and greet. But yeah, like I said, I went back to see if I could find her there, and there she was. She had like 2 people in front of her, so I chose to wait. And I met her. Let's see, I'm trying to exactly remember the exact interaction how it was like. So I'd say I had a little bit of a rough start. I asked her if she remembered who I was, just because why not? I chose to have a little fun, and she did, luckily. And then I asked her if she remembered me asking for screenshots because in her streams I one time asked for screenshots of the server, and she sent them like a while ago, and they were all for this like the gift project I was working on, and like I said, I'll mention that later. And she did, and I told her that it was for these boxes right here, which she got 2, because I'm mainly a member in her community, so I chose to give her 2. And so after I gave her the gift boxes, I asked her if she also remembered if I mentioned something brewing this way comes, and this was the second project that I mentioned to her that was being brewed up a while ago, and today was the day to reveal it. And so to reveal the project, I said that I and a group of her community all got together and worked on letters for me to bring to TwitchCon. And she was flabbergasted, she was surprised. I gave her the mail, and I also got a picture with her in the mail as like proof of delivery. You know how like delivery drivers will like take a picture to like show confirmation of delivery, and I sent it to the Discord, and everyone on the server absolutely loved it. This mail project we have been working on for at least like a month and a half. Half of the month we were all working on our letters. The other month was like a little bit of planning to like get the ball rolling, get people like to know what we're working on. And I'm not gonna lie, it was like a really, really good moment for me. It felt nice to like actually deliver mail for people who wouldn't have been able to like get it to her in any other way. Or let's say like physically, like getting her the mail physically to her, it just felt great. And seeing everyone's reactions, like it made me feel really good, but I hated all the compliments I was getting because I don't know why. I just don't like compliments. I don't know why. I just can't react well. I don't know how to show gratitude when it comes to compliments, but I will admit it did feel like really good to be doing this. Another thing that came with all the mail was a bunch of art that I got printed out from the people who participated in this project. And I also gave it to her, and one of her fans, or someone else who was like standing in line to meet her, was like, what's that? I don't know the saying. It was just me pulling more and more things out of my bag. Luckily, those like the final things I had to like pull out of my bag because my bag was like causing major weight imbalance with my camera bag, and like I couldn't distribute the weight properly. And my left shoulder was absolutely destroyed day one because I put way too much weight on that side, and my bag side with like all the mail had zero weight or didn't have as much weight because I couldn't balance it. It was full. It was packed. But yeah, after that interaction, Pearl and I just chatted a little bit, and then I went away, and I stood outside the convention like area, and I was just standing still, just feeling so like accomplished, pretty much. I'd say like the perfect word to describe my day one experience at TwitchCon would be overachiever. Like I completed so many objectives that day. Like I found the Hermits. I met Green and Jimmy, which I never would have thought I would ever meet. I met Scar, which was like one of my biggest priorities for that TwitchCon. I delivered the mail, which was like one of the biggest objectives of that convention. I delivered my little gift boxes, which we'll get to soon. Don't worry. And I also fixed a major problem that I had last year. And let's see. Let me think of what happened after that interaction. All right, so I remember. So I went back to her and asked if she wanted to record a video for the people who participated in this project, like so I could send it in on the Discord and which like a message pretty much. At first, she was a little hesitant to like make the video, but she did it and sent it in, and another like wave of great reactions from that video. Like I said, it was just such a great moment to like be able to like do this for other people. After that, I left, and then I came back like one more time because I wanted to see if I could get one more thing for Pearl, and that was another signature on the board. So something I forgot to mention is that I found Cub with Impulse's Skaze and Scar, and he signed my signature board again. And oh well, I will admit I was a little annoyed, but then I was like, you know what, I could probably have him change it to CubFan136, and unfortunately I didn't get the chance to. Probably next year I will definitely do that. So I asked her if she could sign the signature board one more time, and she did a Tilly signature. And well, I guess it's a bit of competition between her and Cub on the signature board, but it's just a fun little competition. And like I said, I didn't get a chance to meet Cub one last time, but I think next year I will definitely focus on him changing the 5 to a 6 because I think it's a pretty easy change. I also asked Cub if he could re-sign his signature, the original one, because the original signature was in silver. I asked him if he could change it to black, like if he could like try and like trace it and change it to black, and he did. Oh yeah, that's one of my final interactions with the Pearl is she could re-sign her signature because originally she did it in pencil. This time she did it in like black marker because last year she didn't have any like markers to sign. This year brought extra. Luckily she actually brought extra as well, and so she retraced the signature to black pen, and well, now everything's more consistent. But like I said, I just walked around the convention just feeling so overachieved. I accomplished everything I wanted to do. I could head back home if I only attended one day, but I didn't. I had 2 more days left of me, and it was like a really good day for me. So I did walking around the convention, and I walked around until there was like 3 hours left. I might have walked around for like an hour after that interaction with them, maybe 2. And there were 3 hours left, and I went back to the micro booth, or I think no, I did go back to the micro booth because I think I heard someone say that they were there, and there was 2 people who I haven't met yet, and that was Ren and False. Last year they didn't go to TwitchCon San Diego, and so I chose this year. I need to get them to sign the signature board, and they did. I got a picture with both of them, and that was actually one of the things I tried to focus on this year. I tried to get as many photos as possible with the Hermits because last year I only got 2 photos with the Hermits, so this year I got as many photos as possible. Here are all the pictures, by the way. But yeah, I wanted to focus on getting as many pictures as possible because last year I didn't get that many, so this year I tried to focus on getting as many as possible, and I am so happy I did because the other 2 days I didn't get to see them as much, and it was worth it. So let's see, let's start from who I went to first. So the first person I went to was actually Tango. I just to get a picture with him and a handshake, and I made my interaction very quick and very fast, and so I went to False after that because she didn't have much of a big line. I got a picture and a signature. I also talked to her about her signing my name on the Gamers Outreach Bridge on Hermitcraft Season 10.
Scorched Survival. Ooh, that's a cool name for a Minecraft mob. I like that. Where would that mob live? I'm not sure.
And then after Falls, I went to Ren. His line was a little longer than everyone else's, and I just waited in line until it was my turn. I got a signature on the signature board, and I got a picture with him, and he actually said some very nice things about the sign. I talked to him about the sign being very flimsy last year. This year, it was a lot sturdier than last one, and this one I'm holding it right now. I'm trying to bend it. I cannot bend it. Like it is that sturdy. It is that much of an improvement over last year. Also, Ren, he was also one of the coolest people to interact with. Like he was so cool about everything. Like I said, I don't interact with all the hermits so much, and like he was just so cool about it. Like same with like Green and Jamie. I say they're all cool about it, but there was just like an extra level to Ren and Green and Jamie. So after I met Ren, I went to Impulse and Skizz's line. I chose to get a picture with them too because, like I said, I wanted to get as many pictures as possible. So I got them to get a picture with them. And there was like 8 minutes left to the event closing, so I got that as fast as possible. I also showed them the picture from last year, which here it is right now. And so after that brief interaction with them, I left the convention, just feeling so happy about all the things that I accomplished that day. And I went back to my hotel room, which is actually something I didn't know this year. I got a hotel room for myself for 2 days for the convention. It was technically 3 days, but we're not gonna talk about how complicated that part is. I did a bit of chatting with some people on Discord, and I just talked about what happened. I just talked about how much of a great experience I had. I also talked to my mom, who wanted to make sure I was fine, and I talked to her, like updating her with all the stuff that happened. I showed her the pictures. Like that was such a great day. And after I finished talking to her, I chose to watch a cartoon. Technically, it's a cartoon. I'm gonna call it a cartoon. I just watched the X-Men cartoon because I wanted to catch up on it before season 2 came out. I watched a bit of that until I started feeling sleepy, and then I went to bed. Alright, so before we move on to day 2 of the event, I want to quickly reveal what the main first project, the main thing that I worked on for this year for TwitchCon San Diego. And it wasn't the mail project. I worked on a completely separate project apart from that. So this year for TwitchCon San Diego, I chose to make like little like gift boxes for like action figures, like an action figure like box. Those things took a while for me to like design and like work on, and I really wanted to do it. And the main reason why I wanted to do it is because I kind of wanted to like mix the two things that I really like Hermitcraft, and also like collecting action figures, unfortunately, and it's a very pricey hobby. I will say that. But like I said, I chose to combine the two ideas together and turn it into something. And I chose. And here's the thing: I actually took photos of them, and here are some photos of all the Hermit boxes that I made. I also made a Jimmy box just because I don't know. I thought it'd be really fun to like make a box for someone who I most likely wouldn't meet, but I tried anyways, and I got to meet him, which is really cool. But yeah, these boxes were made possible with Pro's help. I asked her on the Discord with the ticket if I could get a few pictures of the server, and I got the pictures, and those pictures were used for the background. The Double Life ones for like the Jimmy and the 5 a.m. Pearl one. Those were from a world download, not world down. Actually, no, it was a world download. It was like a remake of the Double Life world, and I chose to like use some screenshots of the world and put them as background for Jimmy's and Pearl's boxes. These boxes took around like 3 months to make. The first month was like the boxes being painted and stuff, and the first 6 copies of the boxes, they all failed. All of them were thrown away, and I made new ones again and again until it actually worked. I made sure these were like as perfect as possible. And right now, I'd say I really like the product, but I hope next year I make some improvements. I think mainly in design-wise. I think the decals could be a lot better. Honestly, while I was working on this project, I procrastinated a lot, and up until like the final month of like the month before TwitchCon San Diego, I was like speedrunning trying to make sure I got everything done as fast as possible, and I completed them at least like 2 weeks before TwitchCon San Diego, and no, I think it was probably like 3 weeks actually. Yeah, I got them all done, and they're all ready, and I waited till the last minute to actually wrap them, and my mom and I, we wrapped them together, and this was like the night before, but we got them done, and we managed to put them in the bag and they were all ready. They were ready for TwitchCon San Diego the day after, which was only like, at the time it was like 7 hours until I had to go to the train station, but we did it, and they were delivered, and I cannot wait to see the reaction. If they, like, I honestly really hope they post them on Twitter or show them on YouTube. I don't know, I really want to see them. Maybe it'll be in Jump's vlog. I think she'll probably do a vlog, right? Probably. Alright, so let's move on to day 2 of TwitchCon San Diego. This day, I'd say I had a bit of a more negative experience with, but what I did manage to accomplish that day, I was still happy with. I'm just gonna say, I think day 2 and 3 are gonna be the quickest days for this like video. This video might get really long if I talk about everything, but honestly, it's very straight to the point what happened these 2 days. So let's get started. So honestly, nothing really happened the first half of the convention on that day because there was a meet and greet with Pearl Gem, Impulse, Skiz, and Tango, I think. And I knew I wasn't able to meet them on the convention floor because they were going to be busy with that. So I just used the time to do a bit of walking around, rest my shoulders because my left shoulder was completely destroyed, and I chose to focus all the way on the other shoulder, and that one got a little hurt as well. But it was fine. I managed to walk around the convention fine. I took a few pictures of the convention because I needed footage for the vlog. Here's some vlog footage, by the way. So the Scar meet and greet was at 4. Was it at 4 or 4:30? I think it was at 4. It started at 4, so I chose to make line 2 hours and 30 minutes before, so 2:30. And I chose to wait in line. Okay, I waited to like 2 hours and 30 minutes, like I said. And it was a boring wait. I chose to be on my phone, watch a bit of YouTube, play video games, and then they were starting to finally let people into the actual area for the meet and greet. Now this is where things truly started getting negative. I got into like the waiting line inside the area, and according to Sherry on the Twitter, she said that apparently they had forgotten about a line in the convention in the meet and greet area, and I'm pretty sure I was in that line. So like I said, I made line 2 hours and 30 minutes early, so theoretically I should be as close as possible to the front of the line, and I chose to arrive really early because I just wanted to get the meet and greet out of the way, and I wanted to explore the convention. Like after that, I want to see if I can find any more hermits after that, and unfortunately, like I said, I theoretically should be like really close to the front of the line because I arrived really early. Nope! I somehow ended up at the very back of the line, and I guess I was just part of that people who arrived early who just somehow ended up at the back of the line. I heard some people just talking about it, and I was ready to crash out, but I didn't. I kept it to myself, and once it was my turn in line, I got a quick picture with Scar, and this time I didn't close my eyes, and I thanked the other hermits for their time, and I apologized that I didn't get a picture or get anything with him. I just I needed Scar because he was the only one I didn't get a picture with, and I left, and I still had a negative taste in my mouth, and I do not blame the hermits at all. I blame the TwitchCon staff because, let's just admit it, they did not make good decisions this year. And this was the only day that I really got negatively affected by their decisions. But it was over with, and I saw that the event was going to be ending at 10:45 that day. I was just not feeling it. I chose to leave at 7, which was like the normal time, like the last day, and headed to my convention, to my hotel room, and I went to bed. I really hope this doesn't happen next year if the hermits do go next year. But that meet and greet experience was my least favorite part of the convention, in my opinion. Here's a potential tip, in my opinion. Like, I don't think meet and greets are the best part. Or like, I don't think they're that great because you have to wait in line. Sometimes people take way too long, and I had to wait a while. Like, it was close to like the cutoff point where there theoretically should be like closing the meet and greet. I didn't get cut off. I actually did get what I needed, but it was a stressful wait. It was tiring, and like last year, it was also a very long wait, but I got what I needed. But yeah, I think it's much better to meet your creators in the wild, like in the convention, than in the meet and greet area. Like, I'd say the meet and greet area is a guarantee, technically. If you like, it is a technical guarantee to meet the people you wanted to meet. But I think it's much better in the wild because I think you have a lot more time, a lot less stress. I think in the convention is a much better place to meet them. Also, because I met Scar the day before, on Friday, I didn't need to attend Green and Scar's meet and greet at Minecraft booth because I already met them both. So I'm glad I didn't have to do that anymore, and I met Scar anyways at meet and greet, which is actually a very good thing because like I said, I didn't get a good picture of myself and him last time, so this time we actually got a good picture. Alright, so let's get on to day 3, which is MCC day. I arrived at the line like, I think 2 hours and 30 minutes early. I think an hour and 30 or something, I don't know. I arrived really early at the line, and it was a very boring wait. I played games on my phone, and I was waiting in the hot sun while wearing a jacket, which is not a good decision. So when the doors opened for the convention, we scanned our things on the wrist, and we got into line. I got a spot like next to some people who talk about Hermitcraft. I didn't interact with them. I really wanted to, but I chose not to because I don't know. I just couldn't say a word. And well, we waited for like 2 hours or something, and we waited for the actual doors to open to the convention. And right when the doors opened, everyone in line just started running towards the MCC arena. And I was running too. And they told us not to run. I chose to stop running. I just saw people run past me. I was like, nope, screw it. I need to run. They said it again. I stopped running and I just walked into the arena. And I chose to follow the people who I was standing next to in line because I thought they were pretty cool people. They talk about Hermitcraft, and I thought it would be good to like be standing near people who actually liked Hermitcraft, and I got a good seat. Now this time, waiting early in line was actually paid off. I got a good front row seat. I got a perfect view of Pink Team, which is Pink Parrots, and I got some great photos. Here's some photos of Scar and Grian and the rest of the team, and actually of the Hermits as well. And I don't really want to talk about too much about MCC because I didn't record most of it. I did record like some of the good parts, but most stuff you'll actually be able to see on their live streams pretty much. So let's see, like let's say the first hour of me being in that room, I had no idea what was happening inside that room. Like there was someone like dancing, DJ. I don't understand any of it. But then when MCC like truly started, that's when everyone in the room started getting excited. I got my camera ready and I started recording like, all the teams coming out of their like areas onto the front stage into their like areas, and seeing all the Hermits and seeing everyone else. So it was such a cool moment. And let's see. Yeah, like I said, I got some pretty good photos of the teams. Most of the time the camera rig got in the way, but luckily they didn't really go in front of my face, which was very nice of them. And I just record as much as I can. You won't be able to see that much in the recording or this video right now because you'll be able to see it in the broadcast, I think. So as I was waiting, I was just chatting to some people in Pro's offline chat, and like I said, I didn't say this, but I wanted to have it for a stream because I had a feeling like the podcast wasn't going to have their POV, and well, not luckily, unfortunately they didn't. But yeah, I managed to stay in the stream, and I had to multitask both streams, and I'd say it was a pretty tedious experience to manage both streams, but not manage, but like watch both of them. I chatted a bit in her chat, but I chose not to say too much, or I didn't want to lock in on that stream. I wanted to lock in on like actual in-person one, and it was very exciting. It was nice to understand most of the things that were actually understand that was actually happening in MCC. Like I said, I didn't say this part either, but I've watched a lot of MCC over time, and it was nice to like attend. What's the word? Like watching it to spectate a tournament, they actually understand. Because most of the time I'm just watching soccer or like what's the word? Most of the time I just watch like sports voluntarily. I just watch just because you used to have to get invested in the TV. But this time I actually understood everything that was happening, and oh god, Dodgebolt, that part was so stressful to watch. Now I did actually record all of Dodgebolt, and I also recorded the end of Dodgebolt as well. But oh my gosh, every single shot that happened that got hit, my heart was like actually pounding. But every time Pink Parrots landed a hit, I got so like happy. I got so proud. But then when them got hit, my heart just started pounding again because I was so nervous that they weren't gonna win. But you all know the results. The part where Grian was the last one standing against two people, my heart was pounding, but I was just telling myself in my mind, Grian, you could do it, you could do it, you could do it. And once he landed the first shot, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Landed the second one, yes! Everyone just started cheering, everyone stood up. I just remained sitting because I wasn't sure if I was going to be the only person that was going to stand up. I just looked around me for a quick second. Oh, everyone was up. Alright, then I got up and just started pointing the camera at Pink Parrots, just celebrating, and that was so cool. Everyone stood up, everyone was crying, was like laughing and cheer. I recorded it. I panned the camera towards Pink Parrots' POV, and it was a nice experience to actually watch team, like in person, actually win. Most of the time I watch MC, I don't watch the winner's POV, I just watch the team that I'm most interested in. And this year was just so cool to actually watch POV that I was rooting for second. Like that was the second team I was rooting for, and it was just so cool to watch them win. It was so cool to watch the broadcast, like show the reactions. I couldn't get the greatest POV of the reaction, but I got front row seats to it, and it was just such a great experience. After MCC happened, it was starting to wrap up, I left the room and I just did a little bit of exploring like around the convention. I was trying to find the Hermits one last time because there was like 2-3 hours until, I think 2 hours until the event was closing. So I just did a bit of exploring, and I was panicking. I only found Falls and Ren, but I chose not to interact with them because I already interacted with them before, and I couldn't find anyone else. And so I did one last check around the convention, and I found Pearl one last time at Artist Alley, and I got one last picture and a Larry signature on my signature board, signed, whatever. I don't even know what I'm calling it anymore. I got one last interaction with her, and I chose to do a little more walking around. I bumped into the False one last time. I only said hi this time, and I passed by them. And then the last person I met during the convention was actually Jojo Solos. I made my interaction very quick and brief, and I got a signature and a picture, and then I left the convention. And I already checked out my hotel room in the morning of the day, and I went to the train station to wait for the train to arrive. Now, if you're watching this like 2 months in the future, you wouldn't be able to see the Twitch chat, but I chose to watch the VOD for Pearl's POV of MCC because I had heard and I saw screenshots of things that were happening in the chat, and I'm not gonna talk about anything of what happened in that chat. You'll just have to see through a different recording from if someone else recorded the live chat. But yeah, I watched some parts of the VOD, and I chose to watch more YouTube. I chose to watch more X-Men, and then the train arrived, and I was ready to go home, but I went home. I talked to my mom that I was getting on the train. I took photos of the things that I got. Let's see, I did like an overview of like all the things that I did, and like I said, it was just such a great experience. Day one, the best one. It topped the last year one. Day two won't. Well, will always be topped, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but it will be topped. And day three it was so cool to be in a room. Like I think I said this on my first episode of Scorched Survival. It was so cool to be in a room full of people that were there for the same reason, for the same people. Like it was such a cool experience. If the Hermits do come back next year, I don't know if I'll be able to ever top this year's experience. Like it was such a cool experience, and I would love to experience it all again. On the ride back home, I just like I said, I was like looking at all the photos, all the videos I got, and man, like I said, it was such a cool experience. Last year I didn't get to experience that much. This year I got to experience pretty much most of it, and I want to do it all again. It was just such a cool experience, and I just want to do it all over again. And I wish it wasn't over, but I'm just still happy it all happened. And there's always next year, and I think next year I don't know what I have planned, but I know I want to get some stuff done. Like I want to get Cub to turn his 5 into a 6 on the signature, and I don't know what else. I think we'll just autopilot next year. So yeah, this episode was mostly about TwitchCon San Diego. It was mostly like a vlog, a commentary of what happened. Like I said, I had a great experience, and I wish to experience it all over again because it was such a cool experience, and it's just nice to have an opportunity to meet the people that you watched most, and it's so cool to meet them. I wish I had more interaction with them day 2 and 3, but I didn't. But I'm so glad I got to meet them and overachieve on day 1. And that I don't think I'll ever be able to top that ever in my life. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this like hybrid episode. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed the micro footage. As you see, I just got a heavy core right there in the background. I'm just recording. I'm not even watching the recording right now. I'm just recording an OBS on a black screen. So you won't be able to see this part, but you will be able to see the micro part. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this hybrid episode. It was a little different, but I wish to do more episodes like this. But it's still going to be Minecraft Survival. And hey, if this is your first time watching this video, if you want, you can check out the rest of the videos. If you want, you can check out my first episode of the series, which is where I actually talk about my first TwitchCon experience on my first episode. If you want to watch that, well, I hope you enjoy it. It's really outdated. It's not that good, but I say over time I've improved a lot, and this video is like 10 times better than the last one. All right, so I don't really have that much to say. I yapped way too much about what happened, but like I said, great experience. Wish to experience it all again, and I think I've done enough yapping for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. All right. I don't have much to say, so that's the end. See ya.